In the dense, shadowy folds of the Amazon rainforest, where the trees loom like ancient sentinels and the air hangs thick with life, there lives a bird so strange it seems conjured from myth, the potu. With its wide, gaping mouth, enormous eyes, and uncanny stillness, the potu is often mistaken for a ghost, a branch, or nothing at all. It is nature's master of camouflage, an avian phantom blending into bark and dusk. There are several species of potus in South America, but in the Amazon, the most commonly encountered is the common potu, Nyctibius griseus. Yet encountered is a generous word. Even seasoned naturalists may walk right past one without ever knowing, as the bird perches motionless atop broken tree stumps or dead branches, its plumage perfectly mimicking decaying wood. In this rigid pose, it tilts its beak skyward and closes its eyes to a narrow slit, rendering itself nearly invisible, a living tree limb. Nocturnal and solitary, the potu waits for nightfall to reveal its otherworldly face. With eyes adapted for extreme low light and a mouth that opens impossibly wide, it soars out from its perch in slow, silent flight to snatch moths, beetles, and other insects mid-air. Its flight is light and buoyant, almost moth-like itself. But it's not just the appearance that makes the potu otherworldly, it's the voice. Its call is haunting, a soft descending moan that drifts through the rainforest like a ghost's sigh. Locals describe it as melancholic, almost human in its sorrow. In folklore, the potu is often thought to be the spirit of a mourning woman, cursed to call out in the night for her lost love. Strangely, despite their elusive nature, potus are relatively common. They lay a single egg directly on a branch or stump without building a nest. The egg rests in a shallow depression, and the adult will sit unmoving for hours, relying entirely on camouflage to avoid predators. The potu's bizarre charm lies in its contradictions. It is a bird that vanishes by standing still, a voice that haunts without a form. In a jungle full of color and movement, the potu stands apart as a silent sentinel, guarding the secrets of the dark. In the heart of the Amazon, where rivers weave through ancient jungle and silence is broken only by bird calls and distant thunder, a sleek, muscular form slices through the water like a torpedo, the giant otter Pteronura brasiliensis, a charismatic and formidable predator that rules the waterways with a mix of intelligence, agility, and boundless energy. Known to locals as the Lobo de Rio, the river wolf, this apex predator is not only the largest otter species in the world, but one of the most fascinating creatures in the rainforest. Growing up to 6 feet, 1.8 meters, in length, and weighing over 70 pounds, 32 kilograms, the giant otter is instantly recognizable by its powerful build, chocolate brown fur, and the creamy white markings on its throat and chest, patterns as unique as fingerprints, used by researchers to identify individuals. Its body is streamlined for speed, with webbed feet and a flattened tail that acts like a rudder, allowing it to twist, turn, and dive with astonishing precision. But what sets this otter apart is not just its size, it's its personality. Giant otters are highly social, living in close-knit family groups of up to 10 members, usually led by a dominant breeding pair. They communicate constantly with a complex vocal repertoire, whistles, chirps, hums, and growls, earning them the nickname, loudest otters in the world. Their teamwork is so finely tuned that they hunt cooperatively, coordinating underwater like a well-rehearsed squad. Their primary prey, fish, especially large species like catfish and characins, but they'll also go after crustaceans and even small caimans. With powerful jaws and lightning-fast reflexes, a single otter can consume up to 9 pounds of food in a day. Watching them hunt is like witnessing underwater ballet, full of grace and ferocity. Yet, despite their dominance, these otters are vulnerable. Once found throughout tropical South America, they've disappeared from much of their former range due to habitat destruction, pollution, and poaching for their velvety fur. Now listed as endangered, they survive mainly in remote, protected areas of the Amazon. Still, the giant otter remains a living symbol of the rainforest's untamed spirit. Curious, Clever and fiercely bonded to family, it's a creature that charms as easily as it commands respect. In the green underworld of the Amazon rainforest, where sunlight barely kisses the forest floor, armies of tiny workers march in perfect procession. Each one carries a fragment of a leaf, held high like a victorious banner. These are the leafcutter ants, nature's most tireless farmers, engineers and foragers, living proof that the jungle's most powerful creatures don't need to roar to rule. At first glance, these ants might look like just another line of insects trailing along the roots and branches, but follow them, and you'll uncover a civilization hidden beneath the soil. Leafcutter ants belong to two main genera, Atta and Acromyrmex, and they are among the most sophisticated social insects on Earth. Their colonies can number in the millions, spanning underground cities with vast networks of tunnels and chambers, meticulously organized and astonishingly efficient. Their name comes from their signature move, cutting leaves, not to eat, but to farm. Yes, these ants are fungus farmers. They bring the chopped leaf pieces back to their underground nests, chew them into pulp, and use them to cultivate a special fungus, which serves as their only food. This fungus is so critical that the entire colony depends on its health. And incredibly, these ants discovered agriculture long before humans did, by about 50 million years. But the drama doesn't stop there. The colony is a masterclass in teamwork. There's a queen, the largest ant, responsible for laying all the eggs, sometimes up to 30,000 a day. Then come the castes, tiny workers who tend to the fungus, and the young medium-sized workers who cut and carry the leaves, and massive soldiers with jaws like pliers, guarding the workers from predators like parasitic flies, or even intruding ants from rival colonies. The leafcutter ants' work ethic is legendary. They can carry up to 50 times their own body weight, and their endless trails stretch for hundreds of feet. They even create ant highways, cleared, polished paths through the forest floor, some so permanent they look like mini expressways. To watch them is to see nature's version of a metropolis in action, organized, bustling and humming with purpose. Deep in the lush, sweat-soaked jungles of the Amazon, where vines hang like jungle chandeliers and every leaf hides a story, marches one of the rainforest's most feared creatures, not because of its size, but because of its sting. Meet the giant bullet ant, Paraponera clavata, a black-armored warrior of the undergrowth, infamous for delivering what many call the most excruciating pain known to man. Growing up to 1.5 inches, about 3.8 centimeters long, this ant looks like it came straight out of a prehistoric nightmare. It's massive by ant standards, with powerful mandibles, large black eyes, and a glossy, reddish-black body that moves with deliberate, fearless purpose. You don't stumble upon a bullet ant. You feel it, even before it touches you. Jungle. Veterans and native tribes alike give it a wide berth, and for good reason. The bullet ant's sting is the stuff of legend. It earned its name because the pain is said to be equal to being shot. According to entomologist Justin Schmidt's famous pain index, the bullet ant sits proudly and terrifyingly at the very top, level 4+. Victims describe the sting as waves of pain, pure, intense burning, and the worst 24 hours of your life. And yet, for all its agony, the sting isn't lethal, just unforgettably brutal. Despite its fearsome reputation, the bullet ant isn't a mindless attacker. It's surprisingly reserved and only stings in defense. These ants nest at the base of trees and hunt insects in the leaf litter. They're solitary foragers, but fiercely loyal to the colony. If disturbed, the alarm spreads fast, and suddenly you're dealing with dozens of enraged giants ready to defend their home with fiery vengeance. Incredibly, some Amazonian tribes have woven the bullet ant into their rites of passage. The Sataremawe, people of Brazil, use the ant in a manhood ritual, where boys don gloves woven with live bullet ants and must endure multiple stings without crying out. It's a test of endurance, will, and spirit, and a level of courage few outside the rainforest would even consider. So, while it may not have fangs or venom that kills, the giant bullet ant rules the forest floor with a pain-soaked crown. It's not just an insect. It's a living warning label, a tiny titan whose sting leaves a memory etched deeper than any scar. In the emerald maze of the Amazon, where ancient trees rise like cathedrals and mist clings to the canopy, there lives a bird so bizarre, so biologically baffling, it seems less like a creature of evolution and more like a relic from prehistory. Meet the Hoatzin, Opisthocomus hoatzin, a feathered enigma nicknamed the stink bird, the punk rock chicken, and even the flying cow, depending on who's trying to make sense of it. Roughly the size of a pheasant, the Hoatzin has a mohawk-like crest of spiky feathers, a blue, bare face, and ruby-red eyes that gleam with defiance. Its body is cloaked in cinnamon and olive plumage, and when it spreads its wings, the whole bird looks like a prehistoric pageant act gone rogue. And that's not far off. This bird is believed to have ancient evolutionary roots, sharing some anatomical quirks with dinosaurs and early birds from millions of years ago. But looks are just the start. What truly makes the Hoatzin unique is how it digests food. It's the only bird in the world that ferments vegetation in its crop, a chamber near its throat, similar to how cows digest grass. This makes its breath smell like a swampy compost pile, hence the nickname stink bird. The smell is so pungent that it actually deters predators. And unlike hawks or parrots, the Hoatzin doesn't need talons or speed. It has funk on its side. The weirdness continues from birth. Hoatzin chicks hatch in nests built over water. And for the first few weeks of life, they have claws on their wings. Yes, claws, used to climb branches like little feathered lizards if they fall into the water, which they often do. It's a throwback to a time before flight, and one of the most ancient traits seen in any modern bird. By the time they fledge, the claws disappear, but the weirdness never fades. Social and vocal, Hoatzins live in noisy groups and grunt, hiss, and squawk constantly. They move awkwardly through the trees, hopping more than flying, and often seem too clumsy for their own good. But they know exactly what they're doing. Their swampy riverside homes offer ample leaves and safety in numbers. In the grand concert of Amazonian life, the Hoatzin is the oddball instrument playing its own tune, a mix of dinosaur echoes, leafy belches, and punk rock flair. It doesn't fit into any neat evolutionary box. It just is, a gloriously strange survivor that refuses to be forgotten.